Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and... Dun, dun,
Good
dun.
morning, everybody, with Jay, and I'm now in Oakville, halfway between the two venues. The last site was Whitby, the next one is Hamilton. And yeah, I'm waking up here in Oakville, where I used to live, actually. I used to live here in
You
Oakville.
did. I think when we first met, you were living in Oakville, correct?
Nope. I moved out of Oakville before we met.
Okay. So you had just moved.
Yeah, I moved, and then I was living in... Where was I actually living at? I think it was Brampton. Or did I go back down to Oakville? It's actually hard to say. No, I was in Toronto when we met. I lived in Beverly. Remember, you sat on my stoop on Beverly Street downtown Toronto.
No, I remember all that. I just wasn't sure if you were in the midst of moving, because I'm sure there was one time we went back to the old place. Oh, probably just to say hi to the people that you used to live with. But I remember us going to...
Yeah, they were keeping some of my stuff because I didn't bring everything into Toronto. But no, we met when I lived in Beverly Street, Toronto. And you sat on my stoop, and you liked what you saw, and we hung out there. And yeah, that's where I was living. Mm-hmm. Yes, walking distance from my work. I was downstairs on King Street.
Yeah,
that's my Toronto days, boys and girls, and ladies and gents.
Yeah, and walking distance to the little grocery store on the side that had those delicious big chocolate muffins that I used to devour back in the day.
Chocolate with chocolate chip. And then the crazy parking in the back that you actually got to like fight with people for.
Yeah.
You have to get yourself in there.
Times.
You do that.
Yeah.
Good old days, right? We're in our mid-20s. I was thinking about that the other day. Yeah, I love you. I've been with you for quite some time.
Yeah, I love you too, babe. But yeah, it's a long time. A long time.
Good times too. We had lots of fun back then. Running around all these different subways trying to find your cookie.
Oh my, yes. I wanted some. I can't even remember if it was the M&M ones or the chocolate chip ones, but we were just scavenging around all the local M&Ms trying to find these chocolate chip cookies.
The local M&Ms, the local subways.
Pardon?
You said we were scavenging around all the local M&Ms.
Oh, of local subways looking for the M&M cookies or chocolate chip ones, yeah.
Yeah, and then we found them. We found them.
Yeah. Good morning,
get your little sweet tooth covered. But no, those were the good old days. Other than having our children and all the experiences we had over the 20 years, I'd love to go back then with you. Those were good old times. A lot simpler back in 2005. The world was slightly different then.
Slightly different, yeah. The main decisions of life were, what are we going to be doing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Yeah, and then get ready for work on Monday. That was it.
And then music would stop by Tuesday because you still hear it ringing in your ears for a couple of days.
Yes. Those clubbing days. Oh, good times, my friend. Good times.
Yeah, you were doing your wiggling while dancing, and you liked to do it with me. Wiggling away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to start off. Sorry, how is my speed? And I'm not choppy. You're not choppy. Everything's good.
Yeah, everything seems fine. You're not. Well, you were never choppy for me. You were for our audience, and I know no complaints so far from the chat.
Really? So I was always good for you because you would chop on me at the hotel. Anyways, everything's good. So we're glad. Thumbs up. I see at least one thumbs up. Yes. So today is a tough day on many different levels. So when it comes to the news and stuff that we're going to be sharing today, is there a Martin update? Let's try to start with a little bit of
on the
news or other stuff.
No, everything's fine. We are looking forward to Saturday, where it'll be our last day of farm sitting. It's been physically exhausting. The boys have been such troopers, though. So, for example, anytime, Jacob is dragging his feet, it's like, come on, buddy, do we want to help our friends? Which is true, we are helping friends. Yes, come on, let's go. And even last night, we do the last check for the dogs. We let them out. And he didn't want to go. He says, come on, we want to help our friends. He says, yes. He says, come on, the dogs need to go pee, right? Yes. Okay. So he goes in the car, and then we get to their place. So he says, you coming? No, I'll stay in the car. So JJ says, no, come help me. You help me with the dog food. No, I don't want to go. So JJ goes to get out, and Jacob goes, all right. And he gets out the car, and they do their thing. They go one way, I go the other, because I'm doing stuff with the barns. And yeah, they've been incredibly, incredibly helpful. So I've been very proud of them, how they've been stepping up to help our friends. Very good.
Do you realize you just wedded me?
Wedding you? How?
You just because you're looking forward to Saturday because you can stop doing the farming. But that's my birthday. It's Valentine's Day and my return as well.
You
You
are
didn't say looking forward to your return and then the animal babysitting's over.
You are far less physically exhausting than the farm. But no,
I'll
of course
try
we're
harder
looking
than next time.
But no, because what I am going to try and do is because there is another helper, so we are going to see if we can make it work that she can help for the latter part of the day, so that when we get you from the airport, we're all together for as a family. So we're going to be giving her a call later to see if we can make that happen.
And then, other than the show Monday morning, I'm not working those next couple of days. Take a little bit of time off and relax.
Giving you a heads up, though, because it is Family Day long weekend, there's events in Breton, so Breton Community Centre, so we're probably going to check that out with the kids too, but there's really no rush. We could take our time and enjoy the long weekend together as a family.
You mean I do not have to stand in front of a crowd and introduce anything, talk about anything, give a small speech? I don't have to do anything like that?
I know you may get withdrawals. You may feel the need to, we'll keep you quiet, don't worry.
No, trust me, I'll be good. I am tired. I'm looking forward to getting these last two done. It's going to be a very busy couple of days. Hamilton is completely sold out, so now we need to do a second screening, which means we're trying to let all the ticket buyers know. So if you have a ticket for Hamilton, please be there for 5:30. The screening will start sharply at 6, and then the next screening will be at 7:15 because all of the events we've had so far, more people show up at the door than bought tickets, and we've already filled the venue with tickets online pre-sale. So if you're going to come, if you already have a ticket, come early, 5:30. We'll start it right at 6, which is the time that's on the ticket already, 6 p.m. So please come early, get in the seat by 6 p.m. We will screen it, clear it, and then do a second screening. So it's a good problem, but it's going to be a very busy day for sure.
Yeah. And then so for the last screening, which will be tomorrow in Oakville, please go ahead and get your tickets at supportsean.ca.
You can still get tickets for Hamilton. Okay. So even though that we filled the venue, we get to do the second one. So if you still want to come, get a ticket, that will guarantee you a seat. You'll get priority over the walk-ins. And if we fill up both screenings, any additional walk-ins will be encouraged to join us in Oakville. So that's how that works.
So go ahead and do that.
Yes.
And get the most of Jason while he's in Ontario. Because maybe
there will
a little
be no
while.
Dan in Hamilton. So Dan's not going to be able to make it to Hamilton. Unfortunately, there's some credible threats against him in Hamilton, so he can't make it. But he will be in Oakville.
Okay. Wonderful. Oh, and thank you very much there, Kim.
Go ahead, love.
So hold on.
We have a
morning. Oh, we have a delay. So morning, favorite part of my workout is tuning into you guys while I bike. Thank you.
Go, pedal, faster. You can do it. Climb that hill. We're the new, what is that bike called that people get, that expensive one? Yeah, we're the new Peloton. We're the Pajathon. Go. Watch out for the dog. Swerve. There you go.
Oh, this is a nice comment here as well. Awesome. The word is out. The Shot is an awesome must-see documentary. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah. Well, we're really glad that it's going to create some more awareness. It's going to absolutely remind people about the story of Sean. Dan does a great job putting things out on his X and his Facebook, but this will give somebody something they can buy, share, go to, and soon it will be online for everybody to see. But the full story, it's a very good medical and legal breakdown of what's going on, the heartbreak that comes with it. And it's not just Sean. There's 2 other families affected by this that are a part of this documentary. So the reception has been very good everywhere we've gone. So if you can make it to Hamilton or Oakville, you'll have some meet and greets with some of us. And then starting on the 22nd already, there's more Ontario ones planned.
Yeah.
And we'll be posting more. And then Alberta, I'm going to be all over Alberta starting, it looks like, on the 17th, all the way to 27th. So 10 days basically straight. We'll be doing some more.
Excellent.
Yeah, at least the second half of the Alberta ones near central Alberta, so I can go home for most of them. but a lot of them are on the road. So you're going to lose me again. Bookings. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the news. Sorry about the delay, folks, because I'm not talking over her. As you know, this is episode 112. Nobody talks over Paula.
Yeah, no, all is good. It's just the delay.
Yeah. All right. So yesterday we had Dr. Mark Trozy on as we were talking about, well, we didn't really talk about the breaking news out of BC with him, but we covered what he was up to. We were talking some more about the facts and other things when it comes to the medical truth that he was sharing. It was great to have Dr. Shoemaker pop his head in there, surprise Mark. And the after episode, the extended episode, is really good. So if you're not a member yet, you may want to consider doing that. And that's a good time to remind you to like, share, and click that little bell to get this out there. The more people that do that, it doesn't cost you anything, but the more people that do that, it helps us build up our audience, which is exactly what we're trying to do. And then you can go to the levineshow.com, become a member in our locals, and then you can turn yourself into a supporter. And the supporters get the extended full episode. Usually we try to do an hour to the public and then half an hour to our supporters. Sometimes we go a little bit long to the public, but we always try and do at least another half an hour with our supporters, with our guests. So tune in for that if you want to get some of the extended episodes.
Yeah, we went like to the last minute with Dr. Trozy yesterday.
Yep. Yeah. So it's almost full 2 hours for supporters. And the public was an hour and a half. It's just so good. Like everything he was sharing was so good. It was great to catch up with him. And stay tuned. It looks like we're planning to have some events in Alberta that include him. So stay tuned for some of that as well. But that will be, what do we say, in May, maybe May, June, somewhere around there. So thank you very much for Dean. Remind everybody to join us on Whippy. Whippy turned out to be really, really good. We were concerned because the online sales were not good. It was very low for this one, but we ended up filling the room. So lots of people walked up and joined us in Whippy at the Iroquois Sports Center. It was a great little area. And sadly, ironically, perfectly set, whatever you want to look at it, to our left, when we're sitting down, was a hockey arena, and there were some young kids playing hockey. And the Whippy colors are very close to the Beaton colors. So it was kind of eerie. A couple of times Dan just stood there looking and watching these young people play hockey while we were watching the documentary. But it turned out really good. I'm so used to saying doctor now. But Counselor Lisa Robinson joined us and brought some of her friends as well. And then we also got to see Lynn Brooks, who has been on the show at least once before. And she's actually makes a small cameo in the documentary. And she was very surprised because I don't think she saw that one coming. But there she was. There's a picture of her with Dan as part of a montage that we created. And I think everybody really enjoyed it. The Q&A for this one was really lively with Dr. Shoemaker there. There was a lot of questions concerning shedding. So people who didn't get vaccinated, but they're near people who did, what are their concerns there? And there was a lot of valid concerns the doctor covered. So if you want to get, your questions answered, do show up to one of these live ones. And some people do live stream or record and share the Q&A portion. So if you find one of those, you might be able to get some of those answers to you as well. And a reminder that the Dr. Trozy episode did not appear. Is this episode appearing right now on our timeline for next?
Nope, it doesn't look like it is. I'm switching off a browser, opening a new one just to double check. But no, we're showing up online, like live on X, but it does not look like it's showing in the feed for you or for the Levine Show.
So there might be some other issue, something between StreamYard possibly, or X. So maybe it's not a Dr. Trozy thing because, our numbers are super low again today. It appears that it's not going right. Let me just do something quickly here. So you say it is showing up on the left, though.
Yeah, it's showing up on Live on X, but it's not showing up in the Levine Show feed or in yours.
Let me see if I can share from here. Post this.
So let's see. I'm just going through some of the chats. Thank you very much, everyone, for all of your support. It's greatly appreciated. Darlene, it was a great live yesterday. Definitely glad I tuned in. Well, we're glad you tuned in as well. And then let's see. What else do
Okay,
we have
so
here?
that's now on my timeline. So I shared the broadcast one. So it is on my
Okay.
timeline now, but not the live. That's so funky. So we'll have to do that until that's been fixed.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go
Okay.
ahead and do that.
All right. So Dr. Tro, I got to share it quickly, love. Sorry, folks, for this because we want it on our Levine Show account as well. So let's go share that one and make sure that that's on the timeline. Really odd that this is happening, but at least now it's probably not Trozy himself.
Yeah, and like we know, it started yesterday because day before, no issues.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. We're going to post. There we go. Thank you very much, folks, for sticking out. That you've seen behind the scenes again.
Yeah.
How the sausage is made. And of course, our timeline is full of the BC stuff, and today's episode will be about that. All right, so back to Trozy, who shared this out for us as well. Thank you very much. Really enjoy having him on. We're going to do a lot more with him in the near future, and I like how he included Jason Christoph as well. We've had him on the show as well. Is that him? Oh, wow.
There we go. So now I've shared that.
I have to remedy to that. I have to follow him. So great job there. And thank you again, Whitby. So yeah, you can see the room is full, and over this window in the glass, that's where the hockey arena is. And there's another one, glass back here as well. And you got to see the kids playing hockey. Not a dry eye in that room, though. People were very sad to hear the other two stories in addition to Sean's. Okay, so now as we start getting into the BC stuff, there's a lot of narrative and a lot of stuff going on. And I'm really glad that Mia Hughes and James, known as Jack Online Decker, is joining us today to kind of get into this a little bit more. As you may know, James is a gay conservative, a gay man who is conservative, and he sees the harshness of the all-inclusive, loving side that he used to be part of, and how disgusting they can be to him as somebody who's a member of that community. It looks like our numbers are improving quickly here, so we'll have to do that little trick to get it on our timeline. And then also Mia, who used to be on the left, but because of the radicalization of the gender cult, she woke up and she's pretty annoyed with what's going on. And then all of this is happening. She wasn't going to do any interviews, but I guess I convinced her that this would be a good place to get one done, as we can kind of dive into her feelings around it and her thoughts about what's being said online. Same thing with Jack. He's been responding to quite a few things online in the last 24, 48 hours. So it'll be good to have this conversation. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go, but I know that I have a lot of mixed feelings about all this too, as we're going through the first few days here. So Viva posted here from the Western Standard, kind of calling them out because the Western Standard said, updated, at least 9 dead, 25 injured after female shooter opens fire in Tumbler Ridge. And Viva responds, I'm not trying to be glib or sarcastic. When you are saying female shooter, do you mean female shooter or male shooter who identifies as female? Serious question. This is a lot of the pushback on everybody, all the authorities, all the media. This seems to be one of the attack vectors of what's going on here that's been popping up a lot. This is not the only one. I'm sure we'll get into that with Mia and Jack. But this is frustrating because what is a woman? Not this, okay? I don't think there's going to be any way, no matter how many times they repeat it, I'll ever start to call him she or her. That's not. And even if it's compelled speech or we're threatened or we're throttled, I'm still never going to call him or her, because he's not. He's somebody who dressed up, maybe had ambitions to be in his mind, but I'm really kind of getting tired of this socially pushed narrative that we need to just affirm everything that somebody says. And this is what something that Mia definitely talks about a lot, how that's not even helpful. Like the studies and the research and the information out there even shows you're not even helping them. Like if this was helping them, then maybe you can make the justification, because I know that was a justification at the beginning, but it turned out not to actually be. So what are we doing here still doing this? So thank you to Viva and Western Standard. It's considered to be more right-leaning, and yet they're using female shooter. So that's very interesting. I'm a little disappointed. It's I know the owner or the lead editor. I know some of the people that work there. This is not what I would expect. They could actually just have left it as shooter. Like, why add female or even
Yeah.
male? You could have just said at least 9 dead, 25 injured after shooter opens fire in Tumbler Ridge. So adding that female in is a virtue signal, and it's I think in the wrong direction. I agree with Viva on this one, and he's not being glib or sarcastic. He literally means, "What do you mean by this?" Because it wasn't a female.
Yeah, we all look. I have very strong points of view on this subject. I have strong opinions, but it was very, very interesting that you say that the media, they virtue signal when they say female. Language is very important, and their choice of words not only is virtue signaling, like, hey, we're trans friendly, but they're also signaling to their viewers or to their readers there's something going on here. And a lot of people picked up on it. When I think one of the first lines that came out from some of the posts was female in a dress.
Yeah.
As soon as that phrase came out, everyone jumped on it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Why would you say female in a dress? You would just say female. You'd say woman. Why
They
is
even
there
said
clothing?
brown-haired female. So, like, if you're the police and you're searching, or you're the community and you're trying to find and feel safe, you literally would be looking for what's first thing in your mind: a brown-haired female in a dress, not a male dressed as a female.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was very key messaging in a lot of these posts where they were getting the information out initially.
Yeah, it's ridiculous too, because some police will say we're searching for a suspect, but they don't mention any characteristics, so you know that it's anything but white. But if it was a white suspect, they'll say white suspect, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But now they started to remove identifying language. This is getting ridiculous. So Reuters as well has died at 10 dead, including female suspect after Canada's school shooting as it happened. James Woods calling this out. Corporate media are simply propaganda organs. Did I get that right? Yeah. For political party taking points and platforms is becoming ludicrous. Yeah. I guess I meant organizations. And then here's a video of the police responding to it. And what do you see in the first frame? You see the trans pride right in the window. So you can't say that this school wasn't accepting and affirming. So that can't be it. They're going to try to say it's something else, maybe bullying by certain people. And if you're going to try and compel actions and behaviors from students, this is going to be a difficult thing for sure.
Yeah.
So this was from Tom Quinn, who noticed the flag in the window as well. This is why this is so hard and so sad too. Lots of people got really hurt, and this young woman, I don't know what the status is this morning. And this one hits me hard because of Jonathan. My brother, at the age of 17, was hit by a car. He was my half brother, same mother, different father, and he had a brain injury where it actually separated his brain from his spinal column. Just enough of the brain to stay alive, but not enough of the brain to ever wake up. So we went through that trauma as a young man, very healthy. Took 3 years or 4 years for him to pass away. Never woke up again. So brain trauma hits us hard as well. And this is what this young woman is going through as well. Young girl is going through, because it appears she was shot in the head and in the neck. So prayers. Thank you to Billboard Chris for bringing this to our attention. I don't know where the status is on this one yet. I didn't see anything quickly online.
The last I saw that she made it through surgery. That was just the last I've seen.
Yeah, the prayers were through the night, so we'll see where that one's going. Okay, and then, of course, this officer corrected the media to use the preferred pronouns, and the officer said we were going to use the preferred pronouns. It was publicly known on social media. Now, I'm getting some flack on this one because I said, I don't mind this. It's confirming what many suspected. He wanted to be a she. Now can we address the gender dysphoria? Now, I'm getting flack on this one because people are like, you shouldn't be affirming. I'm not affirming. The authorities are affirming. I'm acknowledging that they're affirming, which means at least that part of the investigation stage has been done. They know who it is. and they understand some of the ideologies that this person was following and what their preferred things were. This doesn't mean I'm affirming. I'm acknowledging that the authorities are affirming, and I think that's a step in the right direction as we need to deal with this. And I see one of our guests in the back. Will be with you in about 4 minutes as we make our way through the rest of these headlines. And then Nico nailed it. I knew that this was going to happen immediately because this always happens whenever there's a mass shooting. The political side of things. Okay, we were just going through the culture and the public side of things, and the social media side of things. But the political side of things, going to politicize this for sure. And I knew the liberals would go to gun control and say that this is a problem. No surprise there. The big question is going to be where the conservatives go on this one, because they did vote for Bill C-7. I don't think they're going to address any of the issues that may have put this into place, make this happen, or be part of why this happened. But are they now going to oppose additional gun control, or are they going to say, yes, we actually agree with this now? I'd like to see where this goes. But of course, the political side of this is going to go straight to gun control. And guns don't kill people. People kill people. So even if there was more gun control in place, would that have stopped this? Probably not. It usually doesn't. It looked like things were in a locker. And even then, it's not the guns that kill people. It's the people that kill people. So very quick on the political rhetoric on this one. And I'm not surprised. You'll probably hear this all over the world, where there's Democrats or liberals that want to move this issue forward that way. Okay, so thank you again to Lisa Robson for being there last night. She thought it was absolutely incredible. And if you can get to one of the showings, I think you'll feel this way. I really wanted to get to this one. So we have a missing person here in Spruce Grove, Stony Plain area. Sydney is 15 years old, and the family is very concerned. We actually know a family member of this young lady. So folks, please go check this out. The RCMP put it out as well. You can call it Parkland RCMP if you have any information. There's a picture there. This one touched close to home because this morning you told me we know a family member, and they're very concerned, and they reached out. We have posted this as soon as we saw it as well. This is our community, and very sad to hear that this is happening. Hopefully she is found very soon.
Yes. Very
soon. We want that family to be back together. And that is all the news for today. Obviously, the news was really out of BC, and I'm super pleased that we have our guest here today to kind of talk about our feelings about this. What are we seeing? What are our concerns around this? Are people throwing around labels too quickly? Are people politicizing this? Are people turning this into something it's not? Are there bandwagon jumping? All of this stuff, I think, is happening. And this is usually what happens in the first week or so. It's a lot of confusion as a tragedy happens, and we have to make our way through some of these feelings. And I'm not plugging my book because it's for free. You can get my book for free on thelevineshow.com. But there's a whole section there about vicarious trauma, which means when you watch a very horrible event, or as it's unfolding and you're witnessing it, whether you're directly there or online or getting the news, you will become traumatized yourself. So go check out that book for free. Okay, so it's not a plug. You can get it on thelevineshow.com. There's a PDF, and just go through that chapter. Because at this point, I think we all need to remember our own mental health as we're going through these issues and watching this unfold in front of us. All right, so let me go ahead. We got some good mornings from our guests, and let's go ahead and bring them on. Whew, this is going to be a tough one. So good morning, Mia.
Morning.
Morning, Mia.
And we'll get our pleasantries out of the way, but it's not a very good morning at all.
It's not.
No. And hello to Jack as well. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of been our culture, right? We'll say good morning no matter how we feel. Maybe that's a Canadian thing. Maybe it's just a polite thing. But we also have a missing child in our neighborhood that we're searching for. And we know the family. And we really want to get that message out as well. So it's just going to be one of those days for us all. Mia, thank you so much for being on here. I know that this is super early and everything. We're all still digesting these feelings and what's going on. And let me just move some things around here. So
I'm about to move this off as well.
Yeah, we did the
There you
check on. I know it's super. Oh, you got your tea.
Of course.
Here's my coffee.
Isn't that the theme of the event?
There you go.
Yep, Jack, what are you drinking?
I had 3 cups of coffee already, and now I moved on to water. So,
All right, we'll update the title: Tea, Coffee, and Water after 3 cups.
yeah, right.
You may need the washroom too, so go ahead and mute yourself if you have to go. That may happen. So Mia, almost immediately, we had a different guest scheduled for today. It didn't seem appropriate at all because it was about the BC Prosperity Project. We rescheduled them for another time. But immediately I wanted to reach out to you because we talk about this subject a lot. In fact, I saw you on Monday in Ottawa, and we talked about this as well. You know, the mental illness, the lack of the system actually helping people. Affirmation doesn't really help, it harms, according to some of the studies and research that's actually been done. So I thought, how appropriate would it be to have you on to talk about this some more? Because the online rhetoric all over the place is very difficult to see at this stage. And you were gracious enough to come on and trust us at this time as we're still digesting this. So how are you feeling today? It's been almost a day since we kind of chatted on text. And how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling okay. This is the first time that I've commented on what happened at Tumbler Ridge because I think I'm not completely in sync with those who I would loosely describe as being on my side. If we're going with sides in the gender debate, there's the pro-medicalization of these kids who think that they're members of the opposite sex, and then there are people who are against medicalization. And I feel in response to this tragedy, I'm not in sync with those on my side. And I think the reason that I'm not in sync is because for the last few years, I've been very much also researching a parallel world, which is the contagion of mass shooters. So I'm very much, social contagion is my thing. And I'm just finishing up a very dense academic paper on the kinds of beliefs that drive people to commit atrocious acts of violence and people to want their bodies disfigured in what I believe are atrocious ways. And so because I know so much about the contagion of mass shooting, I know that in the post-Columbine world, Columbine was 1999, Columbine triggered the contagion of mass shootings in schools that we're still dealing with today. And a large part of that was the media handling of Columbine. And so in the post-Columbine world, journalism developed ethical standards through which they could at least try to minimize the contagion effect of such events. And in the last few days, I've seen just nothing but ethical violations based on that framework. So that's why I was a bit reluctant to comment, but you promised me that I could speak openly, so here I am.
Yeah, this is what we do. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so we like to listen to when people want to speak. And this is what I'm struggling with too as well, because as part of my intro, we were talking about the politicalization of this already, and they're turning it into gun control. Obviously, they always did since Columbine. But there's also another group that's turning this into a trans issue. So when I say guns don't kill people, people kill people, do trans people kill people, or is it people that kill people still as well? And we're seeing a lot of this labeling going on. Is that where you're kind of coming from when you say my side? Like, are you talking more the right-leaning commentary when you say my side, or are you talking about the left when you used to be there?
I'm in the gender debate. And yes, this shooter, do we have to say allegedly? I think it's confirmed, RCMP have confirmed that this young man was trans-identified. And so I understand the impulse. I feel it too. It becomes an issue because we talk about trans all the time, and we talk about how these kids are being failed completely by the mental health world and wider society by being funneled into these gender clinics, and they're not getting the help. So of course I understand the impulse to jump on the story. However, I don't, as far as I've seen, there is no indication, it's not confirmed that his trans identity had anything to do with him committing this terrible, atrocious act of murder. And so if you look at Columbine guidelines, post-Columbine guidelines, you do not speculate. You do not speculate on cause. You do not oversimplify the cause into one, oh, it's because he was trans. You don't speculate on the motive. You don't do any of that, because understanding the complexity of social contagion, there are, if a young, probably male, sometimes female, distressed person, and this is suicide, basically, it's just suicide, but wanting notoriety, wanting to make some kind of statement for some kind of cause or reason. And so any young person who is in the depths of despair and might be in a position where they might want to commit some kind of terrible act, if they see themselves and their circumstances in all of the speculation about this shooter, it can plant the idea in the mind. Contagions are only contagious to fertile minds, social contagions. So if there are fertile minds out there who might be in a similar position, and all of this speculation that we do not have confirmed aligns with their life situation, you can trigger the contagion effect. So it's not a right-left issue. For me, I understand. First of all, I do want to say, though, I understand that this is trans, and we talk about trans all the time. And it's possible, certainly, possibly even likely, that the total failing, I mean, I read the RCMP was saying he'd been trans for 6 years. He was only 18. He's never had an adolescence. He didn't even have an adolescence grounded in reality or anything close to a coming of age period where he could settle into himself and get past what appear to be serious childhood challenges. So it's very likely, it's possible, but you can't say anything for certain because nothing is confirmed. And if you respect post-Columbine guidelines, you wouldn't say anything for certain. And you certainly wouldn't have headlines with trans in capital letters. The shooter is confirmed as trans, as if that's the explanation. That's not good journalism.
Yeah, okay. And that's where I was struggling with it yesterday, because we were talking about that on the show yesterday, that there's more to this. There's going to be the system that failed him, didn't help him. Also, it doesn't help that the media is saying female or female undressed and then female or gun person. Like a lot of the headlines in the first 48 hours or 72 hours are just horrible at this stage. May
I interrupt? I just want to be clear. The mainstream media is doing a horrible job too. The mainstream media is adhering to the post-Columbine guidelines. Okay, so ethically, they're reporting in a more calm, measured way that is supposed to contain the contagion effect. But I mean, female, they're calling this individual female. On the one hand, people are like, oh, I can't believe they're calling a mass shooter female. Well, of course, so you can believe it. They've been beclowning themselves for at least an entire decade, calling men women and murderers and rapists women and all the rest of it. So of course they're calling a mass shooter female, because they've locked themselves into this completely absurd alternate reality that has no grounding in truth. They have no choice but call this guy female, of course. But as far as I'm concerned, everyone's getting it wrong.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to have you on, because when you sent me that message, that's kind of what I got out of that. I said, perfect, let's have this conversation. I wanted it to be a calm, measured, and intelligent conversation, and you've already gone there. Jack, I want to bring you on as well. Okay, so you've been posting as well, kind of calling out some of this craziness as well, especially with, I don't even want to say her name. I want to give her any airway. No. You're welcome to. Yeah. Who's now trying to make the trans community the victim, and trying to say, like, because I'm not seeing any of this violence or hate towards the trans community at all, but yet already positioning that. So first we have this whole trans, female, male, all this narrative going on. We have this, it's a trans shooter going on. And we also have this, we got to protect the trans community now because of this. And I don't see anybody victimizing them. We're also forgetting the actual victim. There's a teacher, there's a mother, there's lots of children involved here too. And that seems to be kind of falling down on the conversation at this stage. So first, let's start with your feelings. What were your feelings when you heard about this as it was coming out? And then let's get into some of your thoughts.
I'd like to say that Mia brings up a really good point, a very good point, actually, that it would appear that there was a lot of mental health issues before this. This is slowly what's coming out from media and from the RCMP themselves. So apparently there was some mental health issues there. My stance on it is it's absolutely devastating and horrible for everybody involved. And it for myself, it shows that there's a lack of mental health supports, regardless if you're trans or not, out there, and that these people, they needed help, like actual mental help, obviously, and it wasn't the first time the RCMP had gone to that residence, and it wasn't the first time that they'd done mental health checks on this person. So there is a need for that. And then when I see exactly what Mia's talking about when she says it's just everybody's going on the issue of it and all. Yes, the person identified as trans and had been since 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
started at 12.
Yeah, and so it just for myself, it just shows there's a lack of mental health supports out there. There really is, and this was a complete tragedy, and showed that. What I don't like seeing is when you have people like that person, who we're not going to name, going off and making it an issue for a community that it's bigger than that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do. Yeah, and then when I saw your response, I thought you were framing it quite well, putting it into a good perspective.
Yeah,
because this isn't. It would be kind of, I can't even find a comparison in my mind right now. But guns don't kill people. People kill people. Trans don't kill people. People kill people.
Yeah.
Why these people kill people is what we need to work on. And if it was a society that failed them, a system that failed them, medical industry that failed them, let's address that. Yeah. But I hate adding these labels and saying, well, because it was trans, that's why it happened. I think Mia's onto something there, because you can't really just simplify that quickly. And I think we all remember Columbine. I think we're a little bit older, and we remember Columbine, because when that one came out, it was goth. It was Marilyn Manson. These are the reasons why this happened. No, there's a lot more to it than that. Not all Marilyn Manson fans went and killed people. So there's a lot more going on here. Sorry, Jack, I'll throw it back to you.
No, that's cool. No, I don't like how they're now making it a gun thing. I figured that they would run with that, with the gun control, gun grab, and all that sort of thing. And I had quite a few comments in my section saying that, it was the gun that killed the person, and bullets do it, and all sort of stuff. It's just like the person behind it does it. So there's a bigger issue there, even that it needs to be tapped into. There's just so much that's coming out, and there's so much that we could learn from all this and take forward, so it's just, there is so much information still coming out at this point.
Now, Paula, did you want to jump in at all? Because I'm about to go back to me.
No. I'm just going through the chat to eventually pull out questions and comments to share. So no, just go ahead.
Okay, so Mia, so the social contagion, and you said the mainstream media is kind of doing the better post-Columbine breakdown of this and handling it. How could we do even better? Like, should we be saying gun person and saying, should we be doing that? Do we need to include the sex at all? Can it just be suspect shoots instead of female suspect shoots? Like, what should we be doing? Like, why is mainstream media even inserting sex into this? Like, does it even matter at this stage?
I think it's quite normal to report the sex. Normally you would report it accurately, and the very fact that they are reporting female does jolt everyone, and then it does kind of confuse and befuddle, because you sort of know it's not true. The way to do it is, Jack touched on this, the lead in this story is 6 innocent children are dead. Okay, so that's the lead, and that's what we should all be focusing on. 6 innocent children have died. And then what I know that it's a huge story, so people want details, and this is a very tight-knit community as well. So you've got to think about the community that's dealing with this. There's only 2,400 residents of this town. You've got to think about the community, the victims, and because this young man wanted notoriety, you don't give it to him. That's why I haven't used his name, and I won't use his name, and I don't want to see his photographs or anything, because he did this for the notoriety. So the best we can do is not give it to him. And I just think it's keep the victims front and center, and how can we support the victims and the wider conversation. Because the one thing we do know, and since Columbine this has become increasingly clear, is the one common denominator through all of these is there is some form of mental health issue. That's what is each of the mass shooters will have in common. Now, I'm all for, I've for a long time been about it, like the trans thing to me doesn't really matter that much, because it's just one of many mental health challenges that this young man had. And so it's not front and center for me. It's the fact that he had OCD, major depressive disorder. He was self-medicating with mushrooms and all kinds of drugs. And I think we need to focus more on the general state of mental health for young people, and constantly remember the fact that there are online subcultures everywhere that will be celebrating what he did, will be glorifying what he did, will be elevating him to legendary status for this, and be aware of that so that we're not contributing to that in any way.
Okay, I kind of like that policy of yours. Don't talk about him. Don't give him what he was searching for, the notoriety. Jack, I'm going to come to you a bit, because you were nodding when she was starting to talk about the medical side, not just the mental health, but consuming the mushrooms and other things. And this is what's pulling at my heart a lot, because as we talked about at the beginning of this episode, I lost my brother at 17. He was hit by a car. And I believe the only reason he was hit by a car is his father put him on this cocktail of drugs. He was a hyper kid. He had lots of energy, very curious and quite smart. So that meant school was very boring for him. And because of that, they drugged him in order to keep him docile, keep his mental awareness low, just keep him very slow. And as a result, he didn't look both ways, put his bike into the traffic, and never woke up. So when it comes to dealing with children, cocktails of medication for whatever reason, I was anti-big pharma before most people did in COVID, because this happened way before then. So what are your thoughts there? He was on mushrooms. There's even marijuana. It seems like his mother, maybe, unfortunately she's passed as well, didn't intervene. It seems like he was well known by the RCMP. They say that a lot. They're well known to the police, well known to the community, and nobody truly helped this young man. So what are your thoughts around some of that?
Well, involving drugs like hallucinogens and street drugs is never good. I had been in a relationship with somebody that was on horrible street drugs like that years and years ago, and it really affects your psyche and how you approach things and how you think of things, and suddenly you're living in a world that is not this world. You've detached yourself because of the drugs, and they're going in your brain, and if they're strong enough, they will, you're not living in the present, you're living here. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but you're living up here. So I know that drugs like that are just absolutely terrible. So to involve those, as well as apparently the medications that you're getting from your doctor, I mean, it's just a cocktail for disaster. Just an absolute cocktail for disaster. And I agree not to give the notoriety, because that's what a lot of these people seek, is the notoriety. So I agree fully. I don't like seeing those pictures of the name and all that sort of thing. And because this was done in his head, I don't know what he was thinking. Nobody will know what that child was thinking. But just to have this happen, because there were so many things that just snowballed in this person's life. Obviously, we can see that. So that's just something we don't even, just from what we've been told so far, we know that this was a snowball that just ran down the hill, which was just terrible. But yeah, I believe that obviously played a huge part in it.
Okay.
May I add something?
Mm.
So we don't know. We don't know the motive, and nobody should be speculating on it. If, as is so often the case in these events, we get a manifesto, these individuals often have the manifesto, and they lay out very clearly why they did it. There's a huge issue with sharing that manifesto. So I actually do hope that we never find out publicly why he did it, because, again, going back to Columbine, Columbine is cited in most manifestos of school shootings. If somebody left a manifesto, they pretty much always cite Columbine. And then they lift from each other's manifestos. They publish them. And if they get published publicly, sometimes the shooter does it himself. The next shooter will actually just copy paste, and they plunk the whole thing in their own manifesto, which is just showing the social contagion effect. It's showing that they saw what this person did. Yes, that is completely in line with my grievance or who I am or whatever, and then they actually copy and paste and plonk it in their own. So there may one day be a manifesto, and I very much hope we never know what's in it.
Okay, so Mia, like you're really doing a good job here, kind of explaining what some of the real problems are, the contagion. What can we do? What can we learn from this? What should we be doing going forward? How do we help people like this? Should we be talking about this more? Maybe not specifically like the manifesto, but talking about if you're feeling this way, like how can we, it's hard to prevent any tragedy, okay? But what could be done going forward? What lessons could be learned from this one, if any?
I mean, there are different levels. Of course, it's almost, I feel silly saying it because it's obvious, but also feels impossible at this point. And that is better mental health care. And that's mental health care that doesn't involve just a 5-minute psychiatrist appointment and SSRIs. It's mental health care that doesn't involve, yes, you're a girl here, have some estrogen. Actual, real, true mental health support that digs into the very complex issues that these individuals always have, and helps them overcome it. There's also the influence of the online world. You combine mental health issues, long-standing childhood problems, and then growing up online and in a very disembodied way. I don't know, it's also impossible to imagine a world where we get teenagers offline and get them experiencing life in the real world again, but that would be the ideal as well. And then there are, for the mass shooting type events, there is, this is why I'm so clear on this, is because I've spent so much time recently researching this. So for the extreme overvalue belief, which is what I'm writing my paper about, there are distal warning signs, is what they call them. There are external signs that your loved one is plunging into is being overcome by some kind of belief that could result in them being a danger to themselves or others. And the signs are simply the individual becomes very withdrawn, the individual becomes very singularly focused on one particular grievance, one particular political issue, one particular idea that they continually talk about passionately with escalating intensity. So there are signs for the individual family members and loved ones, but if the person doesn't come from a stable home, if the person doesn't come from a home where they sit down to dinner every night and have conversations, then loved ones are not going to pick up on that. So that's, again, another layer to this. You need a strong family structure. You need real world conversations with your loved ones. You need to know what's going on in their mind. And if you're always just disconnected and staring at screens, you're not going to see any of the warning signs. So understanding just how the combination of mental health, the combination of the internet, of not having a family structure, how dangerous that can be for an individual in distress who then lands on a destructive idea.
Okay, and Mia, I'm going to come back to you right after Jack. So I want to get into the government involvement and what can government do. So Mia, maybe what's the role of the government in helping prevent some of this? We'll get to that in a second. But Jack, you were part of Danielle Smith's team, Premier Danielle Smith here in Alberta, her team when it came to writing some of these bills to protect children, parents, and schools, sports, all that kind of stuff. You were working with her on some of that, banning the puberty blockers and other government initiatives to intervene and try to address some of these issues. With your experience there, what do you think could be done or might be going through the government's minds right now in Alberta about trying to address some of this? Because what Mia's talking about is there's flags. There's usually, you know, you can see people in the wrong direction. And this young man had a history of harming his siblings and even having some violence. So what would be, in your mind, a conversation to be having on the government level, policy level, around what Mia had to say there?
One of the biggest things that I had said, and it's Mia said it, I've said it. It comes, and it sounds silly. We keep saying it, but it comes down to mental health supports, better mental health supports. That's simply that's what I would think that they would be thinking, that, you know, how that could help in that situation. The roles I played in helping with the government, it was around that, and to make sure that children, parents were involved, they knew what was going on in their lives. And I agree with Mia in the sense that it's so strange these days, because we grew up in the time where there wasn't this online platform, and there wasn't all of this internet, and we had to go out and talk to people face to face. And you sat at the dinner table and you were talking to your family about your day. And I think that's very important. And so when it comes to the policies that were released, I believe that at the core, that would be, you know, the basis of it. Like, be in touch with your family. Like, it's about being present and in the moment and understanding what's going on in your child's life and your parents' life and your brother, your sister, whatever. And so I believe that the digital age, it's just, there are so many rabbit holes that these kids can go down, and with manifestos and stuff like that. And I agree with that, because you'll see that, and it's just, it's not like it was when we were kids, you know. There's just too many things to go through. So I believe that when it comes to the policies that were released here and all that, at the core, Premier Smith wasn't trying to harm anyone. She was trying to strengthen everyone and strengthen those values and strengthen family and strengthen conversations. You know, I believe that. You know, I believe that she got a really bad rap by a certain community, but that's not the intent at all. That was not. So,
yeah.
I was going to say, one of the things I want to highlight is check in with your kids.
Yeah.
Every now and again. So, like, yeah, exactly. Having conversations around the dinner table. I shuttle my kids to and from events, youth club, and for example, every time I pick my son up from youth club, I check in. Hey, how was it today? Was there any drama at drama today? And even when I hear him listening to new types of music, like, oh, where did you hear that from? And then he'll tell me. It's just checking, because these are the little seeds that could get planted in their minds from things that they're exposed to that we're not aware of. Again, it will be through their online interactions. So just check in with your kids just to make sure everything's okay. Ask simple questions, not necessarily, hey, what are you doing? Anyone bothering you? But like, you know, how are things going? How was it? Did you guys play a certain game at youth club? And yeah, the music, where did you hear that from? And they'll be like, tell me it's a game or something. Okay, cool. How's that game going? Are you chatting to anyone online? Just have fun, you know, as if you're driving, you're going grocery shopping, whatever. Touch base with your kids, just to see how they're doing, because we do. Like, we have a 9 and an 11-year-old. And yeah, the exposure for them as they get into their teenage years is going to be greater. And we have to keep the familial bond strong with them, so that they know that if there was anything, they can, you know, come to us and tell us what's going on. At least try to anyway.
Yes, and we're very active parents. We homeschool, and we have a lot of time, so we actually get to spend a lot of time with our kids. We're very active in their lives. Not everybody can do that. This particular young man's mother was a single mother dealing with everything. But here's I want to come to Mia next about government and the role of government. So for a third of his life, from 12 till 18, He was having issues and exposing those issues and showing those issues. And his mother, likely, obviously, would have seen that. But here in Canada, with Bill C-4, and then also the Conservative Party recently in Alberta confirming that they don't think counseling for young people is necessary when it comes to this issue. We actually have laws against. So if his mother wanted to help and guide him and take him to counseling, that's not available in Canada for that issue at all. It's against the law. There's no counselors for this issue. And now with the party saying, we're not even going to push this issue as the opposition, how are we going to get there? Because obviously when we're talking about mental health care, we need to address it properly. One of them would be counseling on this issue. If my young man came to me at 12 and said, I think I'm a girl, I absolutely would be breaking the law, because I'll be having conversations with him and counseling him. So, you know, I could get myself into trouble. So how does that play into this? So that's a government policy on the federal level. And then I want to throw an open question to you is there government policy? Is there a way the government can get involved that actually would have helped in some way? What are your thoughts there?
Okay, so my thoughts, if you are, like I said earlier, you've got to put trends in the category with all the other mental health issues that he had, because that's all it is. It's just another mental health issue. And yeah, you're right. So on all the other ones, I mean, to be honest, we're failing completely. So all the other ones that he had, OCD, all the rest of it, there needs to be the ethical psychotherapeutic care to help him manage his symptoms without medication. And then for trans, of course, that sits in its own special category in that, yeah, you're not even allowed to attempt to help the child. That's illegal. That's conversion therapy. And there's I'm not going to go into too much of his social media history or anything, but there was that, they've linked a Reddit account to him, and he's saying, testosterone, he's desperate for hormones, he's desperate for medication because the testosterone is damaging his bodies and in irreversible ways and stuff. And it's like, there's no counseling or anything set up to help this young man, to help this teenage boy understand that was his body doing what it was supposed to do. That was the natural maturation process, and that he needed to just accept the changes that were happening, and then he would grow into a healthy, hopefully, adult man. And so we fail completely on the trans issue in that it's not just that we're not helping them overcome this very distressing mental health issue. We're actually not allowed to even try and help them, because we're pretending that this very distressing mental health issue is a perfectly natural, healthy identity that needs to be celebrated by everyone in society. So for me, the fix for this, I don't know necessarily government policy, more government, you could pass a policy to be sure that you fund your mental health services to the maximum that it is possible to do. Make sure you have adequate systems in place with plenty of funding so that they can reach all of these distressed kids and give them the very, very difficult. It's difficult to help kids in mental distress. It takes time and it takes a lot of resources. So there's your government involvement there. Fund that, make sure the funding is available, and at the same time get rid of all of this garbage that trans identities are healthy, get rid of the concept of gender identity, get rid of all of it, and treat trans like any other mental illness with compassion and ethically, but help these kids overcome it. That should be your goal. So yeah, you've got to repeal C4, no question about it. C4 prevents the kids from getting the necessary care that they so desperately need. So federally, get rid of that for sure, and provincially pour money into real mental health support.
Okay, I like that plan. But Jack, I know you got to get to work, so we'll kind of come to you next. Conversion therapy is something that you actually were concerned about, and you have concerns around, and you actually believe that C4 part of it, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, I'll certainly throw it to you, but the conversion therapy portion of it was a problem. So did they try to attempt to fix a problem but went way overboard with it? What are your thoughts around C4, repealing it completely? Is there some need for conversion therapy protection? What are your thoughts around what Mia just said there?
Well, I survived conversion therapy in about 1980, 1981. So it was, I remember they were trying to change me from what I was. I had thought that, sorry, I won't go into all that. I believe that, yeah, definitely. There's this C4. I believe that the intent was good, and we all thought, "Yay, this is great! No more conversion therapy. They won't be able to do it, right?" But a lot of us missed the part where gender identity and all that came into it, and didn't understand at that time that this could be taken back and then weaponized. Basically weaponized against parents, and so that you, Jason, couldn't tell your son if he happened to say, "Hey, you know what? I want to be a girl." That would be illegal. Like, basically, like you would get in trouble for that. So yes, I have a big problem with that. I have a huge problem with that. You should still be able to have that conversation with your own child. I mean, and removing you from this equation and having somebody else affirm something of the child. Yeah, no, I believe C4 is kind of a mess and just needs to be redone or gotten rid of, and something else. So go ahead. Someone's
No, I was just
May,
gonna
may I just ask?
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to ask you a question, Jack.
Yeah.
So, because in my mind, C4, they banned something. Well, everyone thought they were banning gay conversion therapy. Everyone's supporting it because we're going to ban gay conversion therapy. And in the post-gay rights era, pretty much everyone would support that.
Mhm.
But in my mind, they banned something that wasn't even happening. Is anyone even doing gay conversion therapy anymore? Like, to me, it was just
no.
they've just put it front and center, ban something that's not happening because we want to slip in gender identity, and we want to make sure that we have full unfettered access to all the hormones and surgeries that we desire, and anyone who says we can't have them, that's conversion therapy.
Yes,
Exactly.
And sorry, go ahead.
No,
No,
go
I
ahead.
was agreeing completely. I think that was the agenda completely. I agree
That
with
was.
Mia.
Yeah, that's where we all got kind of fooled. We all just thought, "Oh, this is fantastic! Oh, wow, this is great! They're going to ban." And I remember posting about it back in 2021. Was it when this all happened?
Yeah.
And I had posted, "Oh, this is fantastic! I don't want anybody to go through what I went through," not even thinking, because back then I didn't know very much, right? And so it's not even thinking that, okay, well, we have these different things in place now to stop that, and to help children and all that. So, and then when you actually read C4 and look at the language in C4, it's like, oh, and this is what's coming forward now. And now a lot of us old gays, we're like, we sit there, we're like, oh, because it's being brought to the forefront now, and we can see exactly what's happening and the damage that a lot of this is doing, like a lot, and go ahead, Mia.
Well, yeah, I always have to point out the darkest possible irony is the conversion therapy ban means that medically altering the bodies of children who would otherwise have grown up to be homosexual or gay and lesbian adolescents is the only option now in gender clinics. So the conversion therapy ban actually makes converting the bodies of these gay and lesbian young people the only possible choice that you have.
So it's conversion therapy.
It is conversion therapy.
Yeah. No, I agree. I there's a lot wrong there. And if people would stop and think of it, like within the communities and stuff, I mean, a lot of people have done that, really woken up to it. They'd be like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I see where you're going with this. So yeah.
Well, I had that really interesting exchange with he's a gay man who wrote a book about his experiences of conversion therapy when he was younger.
Yeah.
And he was all over CBC, CTV, Global at the time for campaigning for the conversion therapy ban. And he wrote to me the other day to say he regrets that deeply. So we're going to have a conversation soon.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think he needs to say that publicly. That would be fantastic.
Oh, he very well. He said it. He replied to me publicly on Twitter saying it, and he's agreed to be interviewed, a public conversation.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good for him.
And Jack, what's he going to go through by the community as he's making that change? You can kind of testify to what happens when you start to talk like that and go against the community. So what do you expect the community is going to do to him when he comes out and is more public like this?
They probably will do what they did to me. And it's interesting because there's in the community, there's two communities. There's the queer community, and then this is just some people agree with me, some don't. There's a queer community, then there's the LGBT community, right? So the older generation will understand and be like, okay, I see this guy's point of view, but this queer community, which is all radical and activisty and all that stuff, they will probably do what they did to me and ice me out and smear me and try to discredit anything I had to say and make anything that I went through invalid, and call you all sorts of names. And that's the tough part about speaking out is that's the only thing I can tell anybody that was you gotta have a thick skin and just understand that there's going to be a lot of people that just do not like you, and nobody will ever ask you for your opinion. So
yeah.
And just my tip is, who cares? Who cares about those people? They're completely unhinged, deranged lunatics. Who cares if they don't like you? I don't want them liking me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I used to care. Like when it first happened, I thought, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Everybody hates me. And I thought I was doing the right thing. And now I'm just like, oh, F that. Get out of here. I haven't talked to you in 12 years. Go away.
you can't be an honest journalist and care about that, because everybody at some point is going to be dislike you or be unhappy with you, for
it's
sure.
True. Very true.
Yeah, every single side. Jack, I'm sorry that we're stealing up a lot of your time here. I just want to throw one more out to you and Mia before we go to our supporter section. So we talked a lot about mental health care for him. What about mental health care for the parents? Like, should we be putting more time into educating parents, helping parents deal with situations? In a perfect world, we don't have C4 anymore, but could his mother have been receiving more care as well for mental health and dealing with hers and his mental health as well? Mia, your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, I don't know what mental, I don't know if she had, I don't know anything about the mother, whether she had mental health issues. I think this does start in the home and the breakdown of relationships. I do want to just point out that when I said, talk to your kids over dinner and be connected with them and everything, that's no guarantee. Like if you read about Columbine, I've read the memoir of the Columbine mother. They were a very close family. They sat down to dinner all the time. They spent time together and everything. And she missed all of the signs, but then there wasn't as much awareness. So it's still no guarantee, but a solid relationship with your children and the very basics of spending time with them and talking to them, you're going to have a much better idea of what's going on in your child's mind. As for the mother, I mean, if she's got this kid who thinks he's a girl when he's 12, and there are signs that she was the ally. I'm not judging the mother or anything, because she's dead and this is a terrible tragedy. I do think that many of the parents themselves are swept up in this crazy belief and this mass delusion, and they think they're doing the right thing for their kids by affirming them. So on the trans issue, it's not specifically to the parents of these so-called supposed trans kids that don't exist. It's to all of society, really. We've got to let this go. We've got to get rid of it. It is a poisonous ideology. It is doing terrible harm to so many people all over our country, and everybody needs to come back to reality. As for if a parent has a kid who thinks that he's a member of the opposite sex, that parent does need help understanding the cultural moment, understanding how their kid got sucked into it, and how best they can help their kid come back, get out of the grips of this idea and come back into reality and accepting their body. So it would be very, I'm the director of GenSpec Canada, so we provide support for parents who are aware of the fact that there's a problem. We're not reaching the parents who think that they have their child is a special new type of human being, a member of the opposite sex, and that they need to affirm it, because we're so demonized. And that's part of the problem as well. Everybody has got to cool this down, and everybody has got to understand that those of us on this side who are suggesting that this is dangerous and harmful to kids and that we shouldn't be medicalizing them. Everyone's got to understand that we're not doing that out of bigotry, transphobia, hate, and we don't want to harm the trans community and all the rest of it. We got to cool it all down and be reasonable about this. And that's how parents would then find their way to GenSpec Canada and find their way to the other side and be in a better place then to help their own child.
Okay, and Jack, I'm going to throw it to you, and then we'll let you run off to your day. Sorry for keeping you for so long. Okay. There's a Charlie Kirk quote that says, if you are over 18 and you are a boy and you think you're a woman, then you have a mental health issue. But if you're under 18, then your parents have a mental health issue. And this works both ways, because with your situation, the conversion therapy was extreme, and it was they're going too far. So is there room in your mind, like GenSpec is trying to do, reaching out to parents to kind of get them to understand, like in your case in the early 80s, had something been there for your parents, they may not have gone so extreme, and they may have understood where you're going. And then the other side is they won't push it. Like if parents understand that you shouldn't be affirming, this is a tough thing, it's going to hurt, maybe you should do that. And like Mia says, we should be cooling off. So let's get rid of the extremes and try and get some counseling for the parents so that they actually understand more what their child could be going through and assist.
Yeah, no, I agree. My parents were divorced. I'll say that. My mother, both of my parents have died now, but my mom, she had nothing to do with it. And she was actually furious when she found out that my father had put me into the psych ward and they were doing all these tests and everything on me. And it's interesting because for the parents to get health supports, in my case, and I'm not going to say this for everybody, but in my case, my father saw in me what he was denying in himself. It turned out, I found out later in life, after my father had been to prison and all that, that he was actually bisexual and trying to suppress all these feelings. And he saw it in me, and he didn't want me to have this because that would remind him that and anyway, it was horrid. So I think he took a lot of his anger on who he was out on me. I remember being told, I was like 8 years old, told to run away all the time. Like he would tell me to run away. He didn't want me around at all. So he would, I used to get beat really bad. But so I agree that there should be supports there for the parents too. And GenSpec would be excellent. Yeah, absolutely excellent. Yeah, my stories. I should write a book. Mia, help me write a book.
There you go.
I'm working on my own. It's an issue for me. Can I just disagree with Charlie Kirk for a moment?
Please do.
So, in defense of parents, then this under 18 thing, that's not true. The kids who are getting sucked into the social contagion, they're 11, 12, 13, 14, they're chronically online, they get exposed to this in school, they get sucked into it. Many of the parents, they have no idea what to do. You try telling a teenager that they can't, hold a particular belief. Good luck with that. Mm-hmm. So it's not I wouldn't draw the line at under 18. I will say for every Jazz Jennings type trans kid, so-called, like the little sweet effeminate boy or the little tomboy who is a child, is not coming across this idea, or maybe they have come across it at school and they're still polluting their minds with nonsense like I Am Jazz in that storybook. But for every actual child prepubescent that is so-called trans, yes, you have a parent who has fallen into this idea and is applying a concept to their child that is completely inappropriate.
So that's where we got to be careful not to broad stroke this and generalize too much. There's a lot more going on, and this is like the tip of the iceberg type of stuff. Yeah, you saw painted face, wore a dress, and then boom, that's all you're talking about. We got to get deeper. And I do agree with both of you. Parents need to get more involved. If you're going to have children, at least start to understand social contagion, some agendas, and extreme end on any of it is extreme. You shouldn't have it. I think there is a place for conversion therapy, but not the extreme version that Jack witnessed. And it doesn't have to be called conversion therapy. It's actually just counseling and guidance, parenting even, as long as you're not getting to the extreme ends, either side. So thank you very, very much, Jack. I know you got to run. Mia, hope you can stick around for a little bit more because we'll go into our supporter side and have some more conversation on this. But thank you both for last minute jumping on to join this conversation. I think it was really important to have you both here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. Yeah, I got to get to work. Otherwise, I'm never going to get that shop open. So
we'll give you a note for your employer. I'm not sure who your employer is. It might be even you. But we'll give you a note on why you're late.
Give me a note for me. I'll be good.
Take care, Jack. You have yourself a great day. Stay strong online.
Good to see all of you.
Good to see you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we'll be right back, Bia.
Okay.
Oh boy. The bug in StreamYard that when you hit mute or hit the banner, it switches the picture.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. That was kind of wondering why we're switching. We're not. It's StreamYard with a bug. Okay, I think that was an important conversation to have. So I'm really thankful that both our guests were able to do that with us today. This is more than just guns or trans. There's a lot more going on here. And it could even be parents. Let's start talking to parents. Let's be real. And let's try and get back into the calm, collective, common sense middle and your children.
I mean, for parents, like it doesn't come with I mean, we've had that saying around for generations. Quite, you know, parenting doesn't come with a handbook. However, as parents, we need to be aware of what are the influences coming up in our children's lives, and for us, it's the rise of social media. It is the rise of more entertainment being online, whether we like it or not. It's just the way it is. I was never allowed to touch it, something valued like over $200 when I was a kid. Yet today, my son has an iPad. So things have changed, and we as parents just need to do the best we can to just try and keep up and be aware of the influences that our children are exposed to. So just keep trying. You know, we signed up for life, so let's do what we can for it. But yeah, I love listening to Mia and Jack, and I think yes, at this time it was incredibly important to have them on to try and give perspective and clarity, and not to jump on a bandwagon. So I'm glad they came on.
All right, so everybody out there, hug your kids, grandkids. Let's keep the search going for the missing child in Stony Plains, Spruce Grove.
Yeah, I'll put that. I've put that in the chat. I've shared it with a few people as well.
Yeah, like, subscribe, share this out. It's a very important episode. And if you want to become a member and support us, you can do that through locals. Go to thelivingshow.com and you'll join the conversation that we're about to have with Mia.
Oh, sorry, hold on a second. It was meant to be switched off. There it is.
It's okay. Okay, so everybody take care of yourself.
Yeah, everyone have a fantastic day. Thank you for joining us today. And we'll be sharing whatever information we can with you tomorrow as well. So take care.
Love you all very much, and God bless.